Associate Professor Dr. Ahmad Yusuf, the Director of Business Administration, Associate Professor Dr. Ungu, and professors, associate professors, lecturers, and all my beloved students. I'm not going to give a talk anyway. I think we are here today to listen from a wonderful talk from Miss Minna, who came all the way from Finland, specifically from Metropolia University of Applied Sciences. I think basically both of them, Miss Minna and Miss Mari, they are here since last Sunday. Yeah, so I think they're really enjoying their tour in UTM, and we are trying our level best. They're spending almost 5 days of it, and we feel that they are really enjoying all the academics and non-academic plus the social bonding activities for the past few days. So this is the last day we are here, and we would like to have a special session with the students on this topic, which I feel that's very, very important for all the students, no matter they are undergraduate or postgraduate. That is the personal branding and the employability through effective communications. So I hope so you will enjoy, and I'm very sure Miss Minna will also share her experience in her university and the teaching style and the way they conduct their undergraduate and postgraduate programs, and later on she will delve into this specific topic. And I really hope that all of you, the students specifically, will ask more questions on the Q&A sessions and try to benefit as much as possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Suresh, for the short but sweet welcoming speech. Thus, to continue with the tentative, the next talk will be delivered by our distinguished guest, which is Ms. Minna Kaihovirta.
Yes.
To introduce her, she has various and wise experiences in communication strategies, such as in charge of the internal and external communication training for customer service, spokesperson, media relation, and updating website. She was a shopping advisor for Danish children's clothing brand as well. While her main focus is lecturing communication courses and training, as she is the senior lecturer in communication for Metropolia Business School, which she is also the head of degree and master program in business development and the development manager in strategy and development unit. Well, I think that I have gone on long enough, and without further ado, let's invite Ms. Minna Kaihovirta to the stage and start the sharing session. Please welcome.
Thank you, and I'll stay here and there.
Sure.
Yeah. And you have the one microphone, I'll take another one here. No light. So very good morning to all of you, and thank you for the kind words and the very nice introduction. If you don't mind, I will rather stay here on the floor level. This might be something of a Finnish background, to be sort of closer to you and to be able to see you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you briefly today about personal branding and employability. I think that is a topic that is of interest to all of us, no matter where we are from, what background, what degree we are studying or have completed. So hopefully you will find today's topic useful for you. Could you have maybe my presentation there? That one. Yes. Then the slide change will be there. Yes, so the topic today, personal branding and employability. Before I jump into the topic, a few words about Metropolia University of Applied Sciences, which I guess a number of you may never have heard, we being located right at the other side of the globe. So the school is Finland's biggest school of applied sciences. And at the moment I'm working as a development manager, renewing our operational culture there. But I do have, as you saw on the introduction, I do have a long background on communications, and I still also lecture as communications for the communications courses. So hence the topic having something to do with communications and also with the changes we are ongoing at the moment. And you will actually get to see a little glimpse of our new campus. I'm going to share one video clip with you as a part of my presentation, so you will get a little look inside how it looks at our university in our brand new campus there. But first, let's focus a bit to the topic. The world is changing rapidly. We see a number of changes going on and happening faster and faster and faster. And one of those changes that have profoundly changed our lives is the importance of social media. When I was a student a few years ago, social media wasn't that big. I think it existed in maybe within some networks, mostly I guess in Northern America. But during those years that I've been lecturing and teaching, the role of social media has grown and grown and grown. And this is something that our students very well understand. But while all of us, I think I can say all of us, we are involved in social media one way or another, maybe we haven't really taken time to think in which channels we want to be, which channels would be most beneficial for us, professionally or privately. And that's the angle I want to touch upon today. So something that you all can relate to, but maybe offering some new insight to that topic. I'm encouraging all of us to become a proactive player. So not just reacting to things that are offered to us, but also taking an active role on which channels you want to be active, whether you want to be found, when you are being found, for what skill, what knowledge, what ability you are being, for example, looked for in the internet. And as today is a good example of us two Finnish people being here in the Malaysian university, globe is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So our professional networks cannot only be within one country or within one continent, but we all benefit from global networks. And in that, social media can be a really powerful tool. So that's why I think it's a good thing to stop for a moment and think about what you want to do, how you want to do, and whether it is something you want to do. And that's what I aim at to discussing with you today on my lecture. For the first part, I'll be doing most of the speaking, but towards the end I'll give you little assignments to discuss with the person sitting next to you, so hopefully you will really get some outcome out of the topic today. You know, being a lecturer, you can never escape the little assignments. It's impossible, whether you are at home or abroad. To sort of prove my point on choosing this topic, here you have World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report, a snapshot from the report. Are you familiar with this report? Few nods, yes. At least some of us are. They did a study trying to grasp what sort of skills will be important in the future. Well, future being 2020, so not that far ahead in the future. But I found it very interesting if you compare the skills listed that were the most important skills in 2015 and compare it with the figures you see in 2020. So complex problem solving is holding the top place in both years. So that's something really important, still staying as important. But critical thinking, creativity, people management, and coordinating with others being there among the top 5. We can see also emotional intelligence. That's a new skill. It wasn't listed on the top 10 in 2015. And also cognitive flexibility, ability to adjust to different situations and ability to change your way of thinking and acting according to the situation. Quite a few of these skills listed here have to do with communication. So communication is there no matter what your study topic is, no matter what course you are taking, no matter whether you are interacting with people at home or professionally or abroad. So communication skills are there all the time. And with number of these skills, the communication is sort of built in there. And these skills would be something that you are gaining throughout your studies. There is maybe not one course for critical thinking, but that would be sort of general skills that will be developing throughout your studies in different courses. Same goes for example, judgment and decision making. What to do, what not to do. When you choose, this is one thing I will do first, and this is something that I will maybe do if I have time. Do you agree with this list for 2020? Does it sound familiar? Does it make sense to you from your viewpoint? Yes. So maybe when we are struggling with everyday tight schedules for us who are working, tight study plans for you who are studying, maybe it's sometimes good to take a bit bigger picture and think about the core skills that we need despite the main subject that we are studying for. So with this in mind, so this is something that is needed from us. This is something that we can offer to world. So how to communicate to others that I'm a creative person, or I'm able to do critical thinking, or I do have good negotiation skills. How to get that message through to your future company, to your future boss. I'll give you a few ideas on how to communicate this. As goes for communication, wherever it can be found in all its forms, you need a good strategy. So no company can do their communications, whether it's internal communication or whether it's marketing or writing an annual report on how the business is doing. No one can survive without a strategy. So I would like to apply that same idea for your own communication. You cannot just run around and communicate randomly. But if you choose and do a communication strategy for yourself, you are much more likely to gain good results. Just like the company who carefully plans the communication actions that it's going to take and then gets the message through to its stakeholders and customers. And today, from all the communication possibilities, we are going to be focusing on social media. So what sort of strategy I would advise you might want to think of acquiring within social media. And these images, some of them I know familiar for you, some of them maybe not that familiar, but symbols for social media channels. There's a lot to choose to choose between, so you need to do some pre-selection. You cannot be everywhere all the time, 24/7, but to have a strategy. So one important thing is to choose the right networks. I don't know if you've heard about Dunbar's number. It's a theory explaining about the social circles. This being from a Western viewpoint, so you would be there right in the middle, and then the first social circle, the people who are closest to you, family members, close friends, a spouse, whoever you share things daily together with. It says you are close and maintain regular contact with. Then the second social circle, the bit lighter blue there, would be your friends. People you know and maintain occasional contact with. Might be that at one days you are in the same course, same lecturers. Might be that you don't see them for a few days or maybe a few weeks, and then you see again, hi, how are you doing? What have you been up to? Or former colleagues, sometimes you cooperate in a project, sometimes you do go your separate ways and do other things. So that would be like the second largest social circle. And then the third one is, I think, the most interesting one, especially when it comes to social media. People you know about, they may know you, but you don't have contact with. And that's actually something that my colleague Mari and myself, we've experienced here during this week. When we come to an event, there are people, oh, you must be Miss Minna, you must be Miss Mari, and we are like, yes, happy to meet you. We don't know the people before they introduce themselves. So they might have heard of us. Our hosts here have done a wonderful job telling ahead who we are and where we come from. And it's always a very interesting situation when the other person knows who you are, but you don't know who they are. As my role, when I'm renewing the organizational culture for my own university, I get to these situations, if not daily, then weekly. I go to an event and I start the event and let me introduce myself. Yeah, we know who you are. And I'm like, okay, nice to, well, who are you? And then you have to think back a bit, so what they might have heard about you, whether it's positive or whether it's something critical. You never know. And this might be the case for you also when you are, for example, going for job interview, when you want to have an interview for internship or for permanent position. Maybe the person who is doing the interview has already come across you, maybe in social media. Maybe he or she has seen some of your work. Maybe he or she has read some of your comments. And then again, you are in a nice position when the other person is, well, I know, I've been reading your blog, or no, I saw you in that video, or you seem to be a friend of my colleague, such and such. So it sort of changes the setup a bit when there is this sort of acknowledgement, even if it's only one way. So kind of for your disadvantage, because you don't know what the other people knows about you, but still it changes the setting. Okay, so keeping this social circle picture in mind, let's add some social medias to it. Let's see if you agree. So these would be the same circles we just had in blue. My apologies for the few Finnish lines, it's just shortening versions of the circles. And then here you see the yellow arrow, and it's stating the number of people that are part of each circle. So for the first circle, for the family and the close friends, it starts from 5. So you can have very small group of people there in your closest circle. And then it starts going bigger. Then you have the friend zone, friends and colleagues on the next zone. And then on the greener one, like half public zone, people you've maybe come across, you've shaken hands, you know a bit about, but are not that active with them. And then the public, the area where you might be known, but you might not know the person who is actually coming across you. And here's one idea of how the social media channels could be placed on this circle. These places are not set in stone. That is to say, they change their form quite a bit. I guess you have had the same phenomena as we've had in Finland, that WhatsApp has become really, really big. Yes, I see some people nodding. So there's WhatsApp group for this and that and that, and when you open your phone, there's 47 new WhatsApp messages, and you start going through all your groups. So that's, for example, one channel that has been growing really fast. Skype, I think, has also, maybe I would place Skype a bit further away from the center at the moment. It started on as one-to-one channel, and maybe at one time it was something you would do a Skype phone call to your family while being abroad. But now all of us have attended meetings via Skype, and not every time you know who is at the other end or at all the other ends. So I think the Skype has definitely moved towards outer circle, so not that close to the middle part. Then there's Facebook, sort of in the middle. We've noticed during our time here that UTM is very active on Facebook. You publish very much professional content there. In Finland, and I would say in Nordic countries, we do the same, but we are losing our students from the Facebook. In Nordic countries, Facebook would be something for us grown-ups. I'm wording the word middle-aged. But our students would be in other channels. They would maybe occasionally go to Facebook to check what their aunts and parents or their friends are doing, but they would have their own channels. So in that sense, and I see some nodding here as well, so maybe the phenomena is reaching here as well. So as you see, the location of these channels, it's moving, it's changing upon a time, and sometimes the change can be quite big. What about Twitter? How many of you is active in Twitter? I see a few hands here. Yes? Twitter is a channel that is growing, especially if you are using English, and in that sense you are in great advantage here, since you are using English so actively. We, speaking Finnish, have a tiny little language, very different from all the other languages. We kind of need to do our tweets in English in order to reach anyone, apart from the 5 million Finns that do understand actually the Finnish language. Another one I'd like to have a show of hands, LinkedIn. How many of you have a profile in LinkedIn? Okay, again a few hands. LinkedIn would be something that we, Mari and myself, would be encouraging our students to look into. That's not for hanging out with friends. That's not for setting up, or let's go out here and there, let's go and see this movie, or let's do something fun together. But that's for professional purposes. In LinkedIn, you can network with, let's say, you meet a visiting lecturer during your studies, or you network with your fellow students, and after you graduate, you might need those contacts. You might have changed your phone over and over again. You might have lost all the nice cards that you'd be given by these people. But in LinkedIn, they are there. They are still actively your contacts. And in Finland, in recent years, in Finland and let's say Northern Europe, more and more companies keep browsing through LinkedIn in search for potential good professional interns and also for professional placement. So a number of my colleagues and other people I know have been offered really nice jobs via LinkedIn. So I saw you are active in this and this area. You have recently updated your education in this and this. Would you be interested to come and have a chat with us of career possibilities with, for example, Kone, one of the world's largest elevator companies? So, well, it's always nice if someone asks you to go and have a chat. So that might be something of interest to you. If you have a chance, take a little look around what you can do. You can follow companies, you can follow topics there, and most importantly, you can network professionally. And then maybe I should mention YouTube. You cannot avoid YouTube. If you want to know how to peel an exotic fruit, something that we've learned a lot this week, you go to YouTube and look for a video if you don't have a kind person with you showing you how to do that. If you want to have some entertainment, you go to YouTube. If you want to get lots of viewers to your message, you post it on YouTube with proper hashtags, of course, and proper links. So YouTube would be a great channel for reaching out, and at the end of this, or towards the end of this session, I'll show you what I'm doing professionally in YouTube. And it's something else than cat videos, I promise you. So it's what used to be just for free time and for fun, it has been moving very much closer to professional messages. So there is no strict line between private and professional, and we ourselves need to sort of write that line and decide what we want to share with the big audience, what we want to keep private with the inner circle. So maybe this gives you some sort of idea of like strategically thinking for what purpose, for what audience you are using different channels for. Well, I've been mentioning the private and professional. With private, I mean friends, family, relatives, anyone you are spending your free time together with. Maybe something related to music or movies or festivals or traveling or your own interests. And I don't know how well it applies to you, but for our students, my message would be what you don't want your grandmother to see. So that sort of content. You freely share with your parents, you freely share with your friends, but maybe not with your grandparents. So you kind of get the idea. So sort of more informal, bit more private things. And then there's the professional network. And you as students, you are just starting to grow your professional network. So now it's a perfect time to stop for a bit and think about what sort of influence you want to have, what sort of image you want to have of yourself. And then it comes to personal branding. So that would, at this point, include your fellow students, not only from your own degree program, but throughout UTM, because I'm sure at other courses you meet students across the university, so it's a nice place, nice time for growing your network. Professors, I would guess that your professors would be maybe accepting your invitation on LinkedIn. So, and professionally, yes, I see some nods here. So that's what I would do with my students. I would be willing to contact them or be in their network in LinkedIn, because that's professional. And we know each other professionally because of the same field of studies. Maybe you get to meet professionals in your own field of expertise during your internship, maybe during some project. Might be a nice place to ask them if you could connect with them professionally. Potential employers, interesting companies, and maybe even if you are thinking about continuing your studies abroad or maybe even working abroad, maybe even some international audiences, international groups that might be helpful for your career, for you to achieve the goal that you have set for yourself when you have applied to be a student here and to get a degree. And with the left-hand column, I had what you don't want your grandmother to see. So here I put what you want your future boss to see and be impressed. This must be a really hard-working, talented person posting a thing like this. So now you want to really focus on the good impression. You want to showcase what you can, what you are able to do, what are your strengths. So separating these two to some extent, it helps you to decide on those moments when you think, lovely picture, should I share this? So stop for a moment would be my advice. Take a minute, well, not a minute, few seconds will do, and think about who do you want to impress with this picture? Who do you want to share it together with? And maybe it might be wise not to share the funniest, the most private moments with your future boss or possible future boss. Maybe it might be wise not to post everything for your granny to see either. But with friends, I'm sure all of us, we can be more free, more at ease, and sometimes also share the funny thing. But take a moment and think in which channel you are publishing it. Who do you want to impress by it? Or is there someone who really shouldn't be seeing this picture? And then comes in our good friend Google. While I'm talking about social media, I do recognize that it has lots of benefits. There are lots of good things that come with planned social media strategy. But I'm not forcing anyone to sort of put them too much out there. If you don't feel comfortable being in some media, if you don't feel comfortable sharing something, then don't. I'm asking, I do not have an answer to that, but I'm asking us all to think, is bigger always better? Is it good to have as many followers or as many viewers as possible? Or do we want to have the specific audience we want to reach? Do we want them to follow us and our messages instead of just to have 1,000 people of who we don't know? There's no right answer to this question. It depends on the situation and your goal. But please note that when you start to take more active role in social media, if you, for example, register to a new channel and start publishing things, that makes you easier to be found by Google search. Be prepared for that. And think about how big you want that presence to be. Remember to Google yourself first. A very good example would be the picture of me that you saw as in the advertisement for this session. It was found on the internet because I have a public video blog. A little bit more about that later. And it was shown to me, so we came across this picture. Is it okay to use that? And I said, yes, please go ahead. It's public picture. You can use that. And it was done with that sort of green background, so it's easy to copy and paste it on top of a text slide. When I published that, I sort of give permission to anyone to use that image of me. You UTM people are kind and considerate enough to ask whether it's okay to use, but I'm sure there's a number of people in the world, there's a fitting image for our purpose, we'll just take it and we'll use it. And that's something that I have to live with when I've made the decision that I'll have a professional video blog and I share not only my picture and my thoughts, but me speaking live there on the video. So You make the choices, but you also have to live with the consequences. Again, it comes to strategy and planning. If you have planned that this is where I want to be, and you are getting the message across that you wanted to get, then it's great. You succeeded in what you were doing. But if it was an accidental posting of something you really didn't maybe share, or let's say a tweet filled with the spelling mistakes, and you're like, I really don't want that sort of image to go across, then maybe it could have been good time to take a minute to think what to post and where to post. And especially it goes if your name is such that there are not many people with the same name. So I'm, for example, the only person in the whole world called Minna Kaihovirta-Rapo. There is no one else, because my surname is sort of protected. There's 30 of us with the name Kaihovirta, and when I took my husband's name to the end, it's unique combination. There's no one else with that combination. But during this week I've heard that you can be called Minna and live in Malaysia. So my first name, that's nothing special, but the combination of something very typical, where there's 10 or 15 or I don't know 150 people by the same name, or whether it's just you. Okay, so now let's get into action. So all this has been sort of an introduction and background of why to do this, why not to do it, what can be acquired by doing this professionally. And now I'll walk you through 5 steps. Seems to be a bit more than 5 steps there on that staircase, but we'll focus on 5 steps. So first step would be to set a goal. Is your goal personal? Is it professional? Or is it both? Discuss this with yourself, maybe with a friend, and then come up with the idea. What is my goal? What I want to do? And then I think rather interesting thing is to take a moment and think, is there a conflict in between the private and the professional? Is there something that is sort of mixing in between? So let's say that you are a bookkeeper, you are studying in a business school and you are studying bookkeeping and you are really like this numbers oriented. But in your free time, you are big on, let's say, playing games with numbers. But then again, do you really want to come across as a big game player professionally? Maybe not. Maybe you do. I don't know. I don't have the right answer. But always, when there's some different areas of interest, it's good to stop for a bit and think about, is there a conflict, and if one of these is more important, decide what it is. As a lecturer, I would say to my own students, maybe at this point in your life, the professional one is more important, but that would be the lecture speaking. It could be that you will find your way in life via something else. You might be an excellent cook and you might have a cooking blog, and then via that you will get to publish cooking books and you'll have your own show in TV, and who knows. So for some of you, the private thing might be the answer. But generally, for people who are studying, whether they're first degree or second degree, I think the professional aspect is worth consideration. In social media, there are different things that are present at the whole time. There's the branding, what sort of image you want to get across of yourself. Then there's the engagement. It's called social media for a reason. You are supposed to be active there, participating, being social, not just putting you in there and then just enjoying, but doing something. And then, of course, learning. Showing that you are learning new things, you are developing your skill, you are going somewhere. So these things are ever present in social media, especially if you are thinking professionally. And since you will be interacting with the same people, most of us do, in social media and in real life, so you might want to make sure that there's no big conflict in these two images. If you are something completely else, or pose as completely someone else in social media, and then once you are meeting people face to face, you are something totally different, first comes disappointment. It's almost like when you meet your favorite pop star or film star, it's like, he wasn't any taller than that, or her hair really looks kind of funny when you see it in real life, or whatever. So you sort of expect more than you get. And this is something that we have to keep in mind, so we don't promise more than what we can deliver when, for example, we start to work for the company. If you've been posing like, I know everything about this and that, and I'm really capable and really efficient, and then you come to the workplace like, could you show me how to turn on that computer? So then the boss there would be wondering, did I really make a right choice when I chose this person to work for us? But if you've been honestly building up your professional image and you can live up to that, well, actually I'm quite good with Photoshop and other things. So, and then you start working. So here's your first task, please start doing blah, 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 done, what can I do next? Oh, that was nice, that was efficient. So then you sort of deliver what you have promised in your social media presence. So even if all of us, we really want to publish only the best for those of us, we only want to publish text with no spelling errors, we are still humans, and it's okay to be still learning and growing and becoming better. So you don't have to be perfect. Don't put the line too high for you. It's enough to be yourself. Don't promise more than you can deliver. Don't allow a big conflict there. So that would be first step, setting a goal. Step 2, what to do next? Who is your audience? In between all the people that is available there in the social media, who is the audience you really would like to reach and who you would like to get your message through? And then when you know whether it would be like the association of communication professionals in Finland, let's say, could be an audience for me. Where do they hang out? They are not in WhatsApp. No, I won't find them there. No. Let me think. Maybe they will have a group in LinkedIn. Maybe I can find them in LinkedIn. Or maybe I can follow them on Twitter, because those are quite often used by professionals. Maybe that's a reason to go to Facebook. Maybe they are really active in Facebook. Maybe I should be active in Facebook just to get chance to follow them there. So you have to recognize not only the audience but also the places where they are present. Why so? If you just keep shouting your message in the channels where your friends hang out, yes, you will get your message through to your friends, but you do not reach those groups that you were aiming at, who you wanted to impress with your skill and knowledge. This might not be very easy. As we spoke earlier, the channels are changing, the roles are changing. So with this you might want to maybe discuss with someone else, share ideas with your friends, ask someone who is already professional in that field. So where do you get all your professional information from? Is there a platform? Is there a network for our field's professionals? And then go there and find your own spot, your own place there. But this can be very exciting when you start finding the places where your target audience is. Don't get too big of a list. Because, again, social media is about being social and about being active. So if you get, let's say, 10 platforms, you will never ever have time to be active in all of those. Or if you are active in those, you won't be active in your studies, and then your professors won't be very proud of you. So don't get too big of a list. Few channels is enough. From 3 to 5 maybe would be an ideal number. Because when you choose a channel, you sort of need to be present there. Not every day, not every minute, but a constant flow of content has to be delivered. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So know your audience and where they are would be the second one. And then, step 3, choose the right platforms. It will always be a combination of platforms. I'm so sorry, but I can't offer you one solution that fits for everyone's solution. So go to this media and everything is over and done with. No. But which platforms, which channels would be right ones for you? It has to do, It has to do with the time you can spend in each channel. So I have a few examples here. During an internship or when you are working, your goal could be something like to strengthen relationship with colleagues. You are setting up your professional life. You really want to get to know as many professionals in your field as possible. How to strengthen the connection? It could be that company's own social media. It could be Yammer, or it could be something else. There's a number of internal social medias that especially big companies are using. Be active in that, whatever it's called in the company. Could be a good solution because all your co-workers, all your colleagues will be there as well. And then maybe LinkedIn would be a nice way to connect also with people who are not working for the same company but on the same field. Could be one combination, internal, external channels. Or during your studies, or right after graduation when you are maybe thinking about your next degree, then your goal might be to share your knowledge, share your opinions, share your ideas with bigger audience. So you don't know exactly to which company you want to work for, but you would like to be recognized professionally. You have the very fresh knowledge, right? You are about to graduate or recently graduated. What to do with that knowledge? To whom to share it with? Maybe you could consider blog, either written, more traditional blog or a video blog. Again, making sure that your audience is reading. Where do they go to find interesting blogs? Where do they go to find interesting content on video format? What search words would they use when they go to YouTube? Who would share your video to your target audience? And Twitter maybe also, because in Twitter you don't have to be in touch with the person to see their feed. So if you just add hashtag, you get everybody's comments on that topic. And when you see an interesting topic, you can go to person's profile and then start following their thoughts. And that's not that much about images, it's about thoughts and current discussion and topics. So, for example, as part of your studies, some of the English written Twitter accounts will really add nice insight on what others are talking about this topic. And again, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I have to remind you, Again, you have to do some pre-selection. It's impossible to be everywhere in every channel 24/7. So do choose. You cannot have everything, no matter how nice it would be. And here's a little bustle of maybe some possible channels. The Google there and YouTube are a bit at the top, so a bit difficult to read, but others you'd find. Do you recognize these? Yes? I do see some nodding. Might be that you recognize many of them, might be that one of them is not so familiar for you, and it could well be that there's a number of racing channels, for example, Teams. Yes, I see some nodding again. Teams is missing from here, but Teams is becoming really big within companies. So if I would do the same puzzle now, I would definitely include Teams here. So ever-changing environment. But just to give you some idea that there's a big variety of channels where you could go and where professionals from a specific field tend to hang out, where they go for new information and networking. When there's so much to choose between, so many possibilities, there's video content, there's written content, there's pictures, there's everything. How to do the selection? How can you decide? Now it's back to you, what you are good at. What brings out the best in you? What you can create. Basics would be what apps or what software you can easily get your hands into. If you don't have a smartphone with enough memory for taping up videos and maybe editing them a bit, maybe then video blog is not for you. If you are really good writer, maybe some written platform, written channel would be good for you. Are you better with words or images? Images could be anything, just drawn or photos or whatever. What social media you enjoy yourself? Where do you go for fun or for entertainment or just to get a little break? What do you enjoy doing? Maybe you'll find the channels among the things you really like to do yourself. And another question, do you enjoy interaction? In Finland, we have different types of people. We have people's people, and then we have more private people. And I'm sure it's the same all over the world. So for some of us, it's easier to go out and meet new people and create relationship. For some of us, we tend to keep to ourselves, and it takes time to get to know people and to open up. Choose the channel according to what sort of interaction you enjoy. If it's difficult for you to be there and react to people's comments, maybe then something not so very interactive, not so very much pressuring in that sense. Do you want to respond to mentions and chat with the people who are following? Or do you just want to publish your own ideas and then leave the sort of thought there for others to be seen or listened? So this might be helpful when you are trying to tackle the huge amount of channels that is available. Think about what you enjoy, what you are good at. That's a very good basis to start making choosing the selection. Step 4, almost at the end. So from the 5 steps, step 4, plan the schedule. This would be something I think your lecturers would be encouraging you to do with your studies as well. And now you have to do the same thing with the social media. Mr. Keaton Makwana, he's special advisor to Prime Minister of UK. I had the privilege of meeting him in one conference, and he gave a wonderful keynote speech. And from that keynote speech, I took the quotation, "Social media is like going to gym. You won't get a six-pack if you only go once a week." And I think it's so to the point. So you cannot go every now and then and think that, okay, I'll get the best out of that. But you have to keep doing things. You have to be active, so active as the channel requires, if you want to see some results. So I think that's a good reminder when you choose the channels. And then when you've been considering your own schedule and the software that is there at hand and the internet connection that you have, sometimes we all have trouble with that. That's, I think, also a global phenomena that the Wi-Fi is not always working. Set enough time. So a blog might require a bit more time when you are creating a posting, but then again, once that is published, you don't have to be that active all the time. There won't be, well, usually there is not a steady flow of comments. You might get one comment every now and then, but it's okay when you posted the content. Hour or so every week for reading comments and posting responses will do. Twitter, as another example, the tweet is only 360 characters now that they added some to it. So really 2 sentences. So it doesn't take long to write a tweet. But if you want to be there in the discussion, you can't just go to negotiation room, throw in your comment and then walk out, and then walk in an hour later and what's been going on, and leave in another comment and then go again. The same with Twitter. You cannot just throw in your comment and then leave. You sort of need to see how the discussion develops and maybe respond to some other comments and be part of conversation. So when you engage, you have to be present for a bit more. It's not enough to just write 2 lovely sentences and have all your knowledge squeezed in those. So then you have to maintain a higher frequency. So again, think about your lifestyle, think about the schedule you have with your studies or with your professional life, and adjust. Adjust the content, the channels, according to what you can do. Because again, if you only go once a week, you won't be getting a six-pack. There won't be any great results if you only go occasionally. And finally, step 5. Be consistent on all platforms. Now remember, if someone is Googling you, they will see a snapshot of different channels where you are present. You might want to have something similar that the person comes across no matter which channel he or she is approaching with. Maybe something to do with colors. I'll show you an example in a bit. Maybe on a tone of voice. Maybe you are always sort of open and professional and inviting people for interaction. That could be a nice tone of voice. Or you could be like really artistic and all these artistic pictures and artistic comments and maybe a bit artistic with your tone of voice. Or if, let's say you are again studying bookkeeping, so you might be really precise and really well spoken, well written, really sort of professional and to the point and sort of sharp and clever. That would be another image. And it's important that it's a similar kind of message that you are getting through via different platforms. Why it's important to pay attention into color? What sort of shirt you are wearing? What's the point in that? Because then it's easier for others to remember you. If you keep saying the same message, you keep repeating that, then people will recognize that. We all know that from brand building. Same goes with branding yourself. If you always come across as a bit similar, for example, smiling or wearing yellow or with same sort of slogan, then people will start to recognize and remember, that was the smart student. There, she quite often wears yellow. Yes, I've seen her comments also earlier. That sort of thing. So that doesn't make you a pop star or film star. I can't promise you that. But the people, the target audience you've chosen, they will start to remember and recognize you. And it doesn't happen automatically, but most likely people will recognize you with a consistent look. I'll share you an example. So you might recognize that that's me, a bit different hairstyle, but this is a snapshot from my different social media profiles that I'm active academically and professionally. So that would be LinkedIn. From the time when I was head of degree program at Metropolia. You see me there in a circle smiling. That would be from my Twitter account, the lower left-hand corner there. That would be Twitter. And there I would have some Finnish glassware behind me. Our university's campus is located in an old factory, one of the campuses, in an old factory where they actually produce that sort of designer Finnish glass. So it's no coincidence that that's also blue, and I'm wearing a light blue shirt on the pictures. Because the color blue, that is a message of reliability and credibility. And because I'm sort of a lively person for Finns are usually kind of more quieter, so I want to enhance the other side of being more professional and maybe calm even, and not to put in a like bright red jacket, which might make me maybe a bit too much at times. And then this would be the picture if I'm going and doing a training at a company, for example. Your trainer today, I would use the same picture. So people would start to recognize, okay, so, I think I read something from her. And yes, I think I will have to change the picture sometime soon, but it's important that the look is sort of similar throughout the channels. And here you can also see what I've chosen as my professional channels. I'm active in LinkedIn. I'm also active in Twitter professionally. Facebook I've chosen to be as my personal channel, so I'm not connecting with people professionally in Facebook, only with my friends. And this is something I communicate to others. And it helps when you explain to people that I have a strategy. For example, when I started in my manager position, the president of Metropolia, Finland's biggest university of applied sciences, sent me a friend request in Facebook. And the feeling I got like, I cannot accept her because that's my strategy. I'm not accepting friends, but saying no to a president, not so easy. So I sort of took a moment next time when I met with the board of directors. I had received 2 other invitations by that time. I said, thank you so much for sending these invitations, but I have made this decision that professionally I interact in LinkedIn and Twitter. You are most welcome to follow me, and I'm following you already. So let's stay in touch there. But I'm keeping Facebook for my personal things. And they were like, okay. That's a clever thing to do. You have a strategy for that. So suddenly something that could have been and was a bit awkward in the beginning sort of turned into be a good thing. Like, she has a communications background. She's really putting some thought into it. So it might be helpful for you also in situations when you can explain why you are, for example, not in some channel. Well, that's something that I've chosen I won't be active in because I want to be active in those channels where I'm really present, that I'm chosen as my channels. And then the snapshot on the upper right-hand corner, this would be from LinkedIn, so there you get to see how many people have viewed your profile in past 7 days, and if you post something, how many views you get. So you also have an idea whether you are using the right words to be found there, whether the right audiences are really getting your messages. So that's also professionally nice to know that you are not making all the effort for nothing, but someone is actually there watching and checking and maybe even commenting. And again, this is not the only way of doing it. This is one example. This is how I've done it, so you don't all have to go to shop and buy pale blue shirt or scarf. No, that's not the message. But to find a look, a feel, a tone of voice that fits your personality, your professional goal, your own mindset. But to do it consistently across channels will be helpful. This is a snapshot just taken this morning from Metropolia's website. So what I did when I started to renew the culture, the operational culture there, I did something that no other manager had done before. I chose to have video blog as one of my channels. Metropolia is a big school. We have 12,000 full-time students and 16,000 students if we count in all the students. So it's not as big as UTM, but rather big. So there's a big audience I want to reach already internally. And maybe it wouldn't be harmful if others would know what we are doing inside Metropolia. So that's why, after having a discussion with our communications department, we decided, let's put it as an open video blog so others can take a look as well. So here again is a little snapshot of my background. Again, you see the same picture. I use it consistently on all the channels. And then there you can see the newest publication. So there you see there was a bit of a break for Christmas holidays, but there's videos that you can see. And now the title says, Reaching Something New, the brand new Myllypuro campus. So our university moved into new premises early this month, so just a few weeks ago. And I was the one welcoming people to new campus and helping them to settle there. And on this video post, I have a little explanation on what's going on. And let's see if the video works. You can have a little glimpse on how it looks. Unfortunately in Finnish, but you'll get an idea anyway. Moi ja tervetuloa aloittamaan uutta vuotta uudella. It's not. But it's searching. This is a video. Yeah, let's see if we can get the picture working there. It's always a bit of a hassle if you are switching from PowerPoint presentation. Now something is happening. Yes. Maybe if you'll just put it to the beginning.
Connect to speaker.
Okay.
Microphone.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm speaking all in Finnish, so you can just watch me. So this would be my latest posting from. This is me in our new premises. There you can see some of the classroom behind, all the new location, and then little glimpses of welcome to the new campus event. I was the host for the event there. And then there as well, cameras following us. So there I'm showing the posters which are helping people to adjust their work to different zones. So in which rooms you are supposed to be working quietly and focus, and which are the rooms for meetings and networking with others. And then I'm telling that, okay, there's going to be some workshops where we can discuss on how to use these new premises, because no one has their own office anymore. that was one big change. So we are all using the same desks and same rooms, and takes a bit of adjusting before it goes smoothly. So here I'm trying to encourage people, so please don't hesitate to ask if you have anything to ask, and please come to the workshop. And there's one image from the campus window to the snowy Helsinki there on the background. So that would be something that I do professionally as well. These little video clips where I speak directly to the person to whom I want to get my message through, and then a link to my video blog would be published on our internal website so that whoever goes there, and I think during the first day there were already 200 times that people had watched it. So it's something new, it's something afresh, it's not in a big written information pamphlet format, so people find it interesting, and especially students have given me good feedback, so it's so great that someone is actually speaking and not just writing things. So sometimes you have to be brave and try some new channels as well. So what I would like you to do for the rest of the time that we have here, it's time for action. And I'd like you to have a brief start on maybe just thinking about your own online professional presence. Think about just a minute, who would you like to impress, to whom it would be important to get the message about you as a professional through. Think for a minute, and could I ask you to share with your person who is sitting next to you? So, little talk with a pair, or with a threesome if it's 3 of you there. So, who is the person or the group you would like to make good impression upon? So, 1 minute for discussion with your pair, with the person sitting next to you. Okay, I think that's at least first ideas being shared. It's not that easy, is it? Who found this easy? For whom it was easy to say who you want to impress? Please raise your hand. Who thought it was easy? Say no one. It's not easy, I know. It's easy when you listen to the content, you sort of understand, but when you do it yourself, it's not that easy. Then this we won't be doing together here today, but what might be helpful for you as a next step would be to maybe picture one representative from that group. So you do not address the group as a group, but pick one representative from the group. Give that person a name. Write that down, and then you are going to make your plan or write to him or her. For students, quite often, a professor or senior lecturer or someone that you've known professionally might be a good example on this. So think about your nicest professor who you really appreciate professionally and try to impress her or him with your things, with the achievements that you've gained. And then once you have the picture of the person in your head, then think about, if you had 5 minutes, what you would like that person to know about you. What would be the main message? I am a hard-working student, I have a passion for this and that. Or actually you might only know me as good in this, but I'm really good photographer as well, or whatever it might be. And this is a way to get the hang of the impression that you want to give to the person who visits your profile, no matter what the channel is where you chose to be active. And maybe for us who are already working as professionals, it might be someone in our field that we are looking up to, someone already doing things that we would maybe like to do in the future. And then, when you know what sort of impression you want to do, the next step is to explain what do you do well. How would you explain what you are good at? And for this, especially with Finnish students, we would get the response like, I'm not really good at anything. Hard to say. So let's have a little exercise with this. Please raise your hand if you are really open to new ideas. If you consider yourself as you are open to new ideas, please raise your hand. So we have a number of open people here, yes. If you consider yourself as hard-working, if you really work hard for what you want to gain, who would say you are hard-working? Please raise your hand. Few hard-working students, good for you. If you would describe yourself as friendly, who of you are friendly? Again, raise your hand. I think there's more friendly people here because all the people I've met throughout the week have been really friendly. Mari, can I ask you, what are you good at? Could you share?
I find myself curious. Is there any other people who are curious?
About new things. Yes?
And I also have good sense of humor. Anyone else?
Yes?
Yes. And I am empathetic.
Emphatic. Yeah, emphatic.
Yes. Anyone else?
Yes?
Do you also find it a bit difficult to say it out loud? Is it something in your culture as well that it's something that is difficult to tell about yourself so that you don't praise yourself instead of yes? So that's why we come back with the authenticity, so that when you are what you promise, then it's just the truth that you are telling. When it is actually true. You are not lying, you are not making it up, you actually are. And the way you act and the way you show in, let's say, social media, it's something that is true and there's always evidence behind it. This is what I am and this is what my interviews in internet or my publications say or my let's say LinkedIn connections they can give you, what's the word for, when someone comes and gives you accreditation or something in LinkedIn.
They recommend you for.
When you can push so that someone will know that you think that this person is this and that.
Yes. Thank you for sharing, and that's a really good point. That's something that we share in our cultures. It's not easy to say that I'm hardworking and I'm actually quite smart and I'm good at languages. It's like, well, she is much better than I am. I'm like, okay, but not really good. So this little exercise here showed that you have very many sides in you, very many talents already, and you could start building your professional brand around these things that you were saying yes or raising your hand to. So it doesn't have to be anything more complicated. And like Mari said, if others do recognize that in you, then it's true. Then you can actually say it aloud. It's not lying or putting out a better image about you than what you actually are. So this would be a good start to get started. And as the last thing of my presentation, I would like to leave you with this sort of little collection. I started with a list prepared by World Economic Forum, so a bit more, how should I say, professional. This is a bit more in a different way, more illustrated way, maybe in more relaxed, laid-back way. Again, a collection of skills that will make you a successful professional despite the field that you are studying at. So there you see some of the same things: horizon scanning, trend analysis, or strategic foresight, which are actually examples of future mindedness. Ability to concentrate and focus, ability to distinguish between noise and signal, to make those choices, to whom to go and listen to what messages maybe leave unattended or not, choosing not to react to. Searching effectively for information. I'm very happy for all of you who chose today to use this day for searching information instead of starting holiday a day early. I've heard that there are some students who chose otherwise. I hope that this will be a good selection for you and will help you in the future. And then there are bringing together details, synthesizing skills, constant learning, critical thinking, adaptive mindset, which helps in many fields, in many ways. And social intelligence there, last but not least, connecting with people, like the Finnish company Nokia said, connecting people. So that's there in the corner. You are in a very special moment in your lives. You are learning so much at the moment. You are making the connections with other students, the connections which will be very valuable for you after you graduate. So I really hope that this talk, this lecture has provoked some thoughts in yourself about thinking what to tell about yourself, how to network, how to make most of your time now as students so that you can have the best success after you graduate, so that you will find your own way professionally and get to work with meaningful topics, with nice, friendly people who are also driven by same interests that you are. One way to ensure you to get to that goal would be to put some effort into your social media presence. Hopefully, with the help of these thoughts, you find it a bit easier to get started on that. And I'll be happy to share these slides with you. You know the ways in your e-learning maybe somewhere, so can you go back to those. And since I said that I myself are active professionally, I will end by saying, see you maybe if not in person, but in social media. Feel free to connect with me in LinkedIn or follow me on Twitter on my professional channels. Or you might even want to watch a glimpse on YouTube on my video blog. I think the next posting will be having something to do with our visit here, and that might be done in English, so you might actually be able to understand something of the content as well. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much.